Hello, I'm Geoff Thompson from Global Wealth Solutions, and I appreciate your taking the time to watch this video today on real estate investing. And basically what I'm going to talk about is how do you invest and how do you plan for it. You can't make a proper investment without putting together a plan first. And with the multitude of different ways you can invest in real estate in this country, it's extremely important that you understand up front, identify, and plan correctly. You may decide that you're looking for short-term gains, which would mean you're doing wholesaling or doing short sales, fix and flips and rehabs, or you may be looking for long-term wealth development, which means you're going to be doing a lot of buy and hold. You may be also looking at residential and have an aptitude or a dream of owning 300 and 400 unit apartment buildings. The real premise of it is that you've got to start from the beginning and you've got to develop a plan. So I'm going to talk a little bit about planning and getting things put into perspective correctly so that when you start your investing career, you're ready to go and hit the ground running. First and foremost, before you make any kind of an investment, I would absolutely tell you that you need to educate yourself. Very easy to get out there and buy property, get it closed. However, exiting property on the other side is a lot more complicated than getting closed on it. So you really need to be very well educated in whatever strategy that you're going to take. When we sit down and we make a determination on a plan, we basically write out a timeline and a goal line as to what we're trying to accomplish. And from the way Global Wealth Solutions works, what we do is we try and design a plan for a client to get in and get to $1 million net worth in a 5-year window or less. So I'm going to explain a little bit about how that formula works, and will hopefully inspire you to design your own plan. So when you sit down, the first thing you have to do is determine what is it that you are going to be doing. You may determine that you want to be a wholesaler. And now you know that on a wholesale transaction you're going to make anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 as a typical average to wholesale properties. So from that standpoint, when you do your plan, you know that you want to be a wholesaler. It's time to get educated. Once you are educated, it's time to start taking action steps. And that's how your plan is going to work. So when I would develop a plan for somebody who wants to wholesale, I may take a look at where they're at today. For most people, Monday mornings is a drag. And I hate to say that, but the reality is this. Think about yourself as you're watching this video. Are you ecstatic and driven on Monday morning when that alarm clock goes off at 6 or 7 in the morning and you can't wait to get out of bed and start your day? For most people, that is not actually a reality. So if I'm looking at being a wholesaler, the way I'd start my plan is this. I need X amount of dollars of income into my whole household on a monthly and an annual basis. Those dollars will substitute the income that myself and my spouse or my significant other brings in. Once I've determined that, that's the baseline for my plan. I know that it's going to take $70,000 in income to get me out of working my full-time job and be able to do real estate on a full-time basis. So if I've taken that as my baseline on the plan, and I've decided I'm a wholesaler, I'm going to take my year and I'm going to divide it up into 9 segments. And the reason I'm not saying 12 is I'm going to take 2 to 3 months to plan accordingly and educate before I go into making my move. The reason I say that is if I just decide, hey, I'm going to do this today and I'm off to the races, I may very well end up in a situation where I get myself in trouble because I wasn't educated and I wasn't prepared. So that's where I start my plan out. Now my second year plan obviously is based on a 12-month window because I already know what I'm doing. So I'm going to say in that 9 months, starting 3 months out from today, I need to make approximately $70,000. Well, what's that divide into in a 7-month window? It's going to be about $7,000 to $8,000. So I know that if I'm baselining my wholesaling activity at a fair mark that I want to make $10,000 per transaction, however, I am willing to take 5 on a shorter deal, I know that I have to roughly do 2 transactions a month to hit that. So this is where my plan starts. I know what I need to achieve financially in my end game. And when you start a plan, you always start from the end and work your way back to the beginning. That is proper planning and proper goal setting. So I've determined that I need to do 2 wholesale transactions per month to make my plan work. And now I also have to determine that during this period of time as I'm ramping up, I still have to work full time. So that means that I have a limited amount of hours that I'm able to put in. So part of my plan has to be maximizing the time that I do have available. And what you need to do is you need to sit down and say, okay, I'm Geoff Thompson. I can allocate 10 hours per week, or I can allocate 15 hours per week to what I'm doing in my ramp-up period. What does that mean to me? That means maybe it's I get home from work at 6 o'clock after traffic, and I'm going to dedicate from 6 until 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, working on looking at properties and finding wholesale opportunities. Maybe it means I'm going to allocate all day Saturday to hit my timeline, or take Sunday and put a portion of my time in. The reality is that once I know where my end needs to be, and then I plan my time accordingly, I now have a set schedule that I'm going to work within my plan. Now I have to plan proper activities, and those activities have to follow within the plan as well. So I've identified what I want at the end, I've identified how long it's going to take to ramp up, I've identified my time commitment, and now I have to identify in my plan what are the strategic points that I need to do as action steps on a daily basis. And I may determine that for my wholesaling activities, I'm going to focus on foreclosures. So as I start my plan, I realize that I need to mail 30 letters per day for my 5 days that I put in my 2-hour segment out to people who are in a foreclosure situation, offering to buy or liquidate their home. So now I've got my plan down to a daily activity. What happens from that daily activity of sending out the letters? Well, I have inbound calls. So I have to set up a system for those inbound calls to be captured. So part of my plan is going to be to put together a call capture system that allows those people to call in. Well, I've got now my lead marketing, I've got my time allocation, I've got my end goal, I've got a system of capture for those leads to come in. Now I have to take my plan to the next level. Through the education I've derived in my beginning phase, I've determined how to wholesale.